What's good, everyone? This is Justin Just Rock Ramon from the Just Right podcast, where elevation is our recreation. Super excited for you to check out our next episode as it features an amazing international guest who goes by the name Simon Guinto. He is a Philippines-based adventure enthusiast, scuba diver, dirt biker, trekker, climber, model, actor, and director. As you can see, Simon is quite the adventure seeker and multi-talented creative. This conversation was recorded in the capital of the Philippines during my recent trip back to the motherland. What makes this conversation even more special is that Simon was our first ever international guest that we got to record with in person and in their own country. It was such a great convo where we chatted about his favorite outdoor adventure activities, why he moved from the US to the Philippines, his most memorable climb, summiting and trail running Mt Pulag, the tallest mountain on Luzon Island and third tallest peak in the Philippines, his sunrise experience with the LA Trail Killers, his travels to the magical island of Palawan, how the Philippines' natural landscapes differ from the rest of the world, getting ink from the world's oldest tattoo artist, and how he was a cliff diver in a San Miguel commercial. This episode just got me so fired up to return back to the Philippines and to just keep exploring more of the motherland. We have a video and audio version on Spotify, a video version on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@JustTrekOfficial, and audio versions on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on all the other major streaming platforms. We highly encourage you to watch the video version since we were able to record in person for this conversation. All right, let's get to trekking and get into this episode. Coming to you from the motherland, the national capital, Manila, Philippines. So excited to spotlight to the Just Trek community a fellow Filipino that's doing dope things in the local outdoor Philippine scene. And what's really awesome about our guest over here is that he's a friend and a referral for one of our favorite guests of the Just Trek podcast, that being Vic Martinez, aka Volcano Vic, the founder of LA Trail Killers.
What's up, Vic?
What's up, Vic? Appreciate you
What's up, bro?
setting this up. Thank you for the layup. And without further ado, I got my man Simon Guinto representing Manila, Philippines. Welcome to the Just Trek podcast, buddy.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, how you feeling today? And can you speak more to the space that we're in and the plants that are surrounding us?
So the space that we're in is the outdoor area of my deli, and my friends own a coffee shop next door.
Yes, so when I was trying to find this location, I was lost outside because Manila is a concrete jungle. And then when I stepped inside, I just fell in love with it. It's a deli. There's a flower cafe or shop right next to it.
Yes.
It's got its own unique aesthetic and vibe. And how'd you come up with the name Bad Eye Deli?
So my friends and I, we were hanging out in the space, and someone had just come back from Istanbul, and he had an evil eye. And you know how in the Philippines, like, we love to abbreviate things, just make everything short and easy to say. And I told my friend, like, yeah, maybe we should open up a sandwich shop, like kind of like a deli. And he thought to himself, he's like, we should call it Bed.
Bed.
Bed. Bad Eye Deli.
It's a very unique name. Definitely stands out for sure.
Yeah.
And how long has Bad Eye Deli been around?
Bad Eye Deli has been open for about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone's visiting from the States or from anywhere around the country,
Yeah, check us out.
make sure to check out Bad Eye Deli. And what's the location here so everybody knows?
So the location that Bad Eye Deli is in Poblacion, Makati.
Yeah, Poblacion Makati. For people not familiar with Poblacion, like, what is this area kind of like known for?
This area is pretty known for the night scene. There's like a lot of bars, some clubs. It's known for its food, and it's pretty much like the mecca of most. It's like the mecca city of Manila, Makati.
I think I remember about like 6-7 years ago, pre-pandemic, I was on a rooftop in Poblacion. I think someone was DJing. I can't remember who, but I remember it was very active at night.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I got my iced matcha latte. I
Yes.
forgot the name of this dessert.
It's I think canele.
Canela. And then what did you get?
I got a lemon espresso tonic.
All right, so we're gonna salute with our bevies. Cheers, y'all. I'm an iced matcha
This
latte.
is from the coffee shop. Yeah, Saglit Flower Ranch Cafe. Check them out too.
Yep, there you go. I think I saw on your menu you have chopped cheese.
Yeah, we have chopped cheese.
This is very particular. How come you have chopped cheese in a Manila deli cafe?
So, besides the the name being coined here in Manila, I really wanted to open up a deli to kind of get the food that I was missing from home. You know, like that corner store. You wake up. I grew up eating, chopped cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, grilled cheese sandwiches on the corner, and then growing up, being hungover, going to the same corner store and getting a chopped cheese, Philly cheesesteak, all that, and missing home since I've been in the Philippines for like 10 years now.
Where's home?
Home is in New Jersey. So Jersey, so
East Coast, baby. I'm also East Coast, Baltimore, Maryland, but moved to LA like 20 years ago. So it's cool to chit chat with a fellow East Coaster, but now is a local fellow Filipino in Manila.
that's what's up. Yeah, I am. Philippines.
So I wanted to ask you, because you look like you live a pretty busy life. Like, how's your weekend and this week? You get into any outdoor activities, any travels, or you just kind of keep it local and chill?
For me, keeping it local means going all around the Philippines because
Yes.
everything's so close, you know. So over the weekend, I was in Batangas, Anilao. We were free diving with some friends.
Free diving.
Yeah, free diving.
So free diving means what exactly?
Free diving is just on your own breath, diving as deep as you can, and just enjoying the ocean, man. Like you dive deep. Some people do depth dives where they dive as deep as they can and surface. Some people free dive to explore the bottom, take photos. There's a lot of things you can do with free diving.
Wow, free diving. So no oxygen tank.
No, none other than that one breath before going under.
And how long can you stay underneath, and how far can you go down?
Me personally,
You personally.
it's not my best sport, but I can hold my breath for about a minute
Okay.
easily underneath, you know, free diving, and I can go up to like about 10 meters.
Wow, that's very impressive. And did you see any crazy creatures down there? Anything stand out to you underneath the surface in the water?
Well, man, the Philippines is such a biodiverse area in terms of scuba diving and free diving. So seeing things under the water, I see them all the time, man. Especially spending a lot of time in the water, you get to see creatures that, you know, repetitively do things that you would never normally see. And I think the most interesting that I've ever seen is a puffer fish about the size of my friend.
You saw puffer fish,
Yeah,
the size of a human.
I'm so serious. I think we were about 100 feet underneath, and we were scuba diving. And I look over and I see this not puffed, just.
Okay.
And my friend's not that small, man. Like he's not a small person. And I was just like, whoa, that's about the size of his torso.
That's
And I was like,
wild.
that's crazy. I've seen turtles, like countless turtles.
Yeah.
Like, in one dive, I maybe seen like 10 max. I think the most I've ever seen in one dive, 10.
Aren't puffer fish supposed to be also deadly or poisonous?
There are different species of pufferfish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I have the visual in my mind. I remember I Googled puffer fish a while
They have
back.
the spiny ones,
Yeah, I was like, that does not look friendly.
and they got the smooth ones too.
Oh, man, that's wild. Also, since we're here in Manila, something that happened recently, we dodged a bullet. We had a super typhoon Pepito.
Yeah, that typhoon that hit the East Coast, man, it was wild.
Yeah, it hit Manila, but slightly it looked like super typhoon Pepito hit northern Luzon, which is north of Manila.
Yes.
Did you have any family or friends affected by it? And is this like a pretty common occurrence for you living here in Manila, would you say?
So typhoons are pretty common since we have two seasons, and it's dry season and typhoon season. My family up north is from Pampanga,
Okay.
so a little bit, but Pampanga's more center north of the Philippines. And I mean, luckily enough, we have the Sierra Madre, that mountain range that protected a lot of the East Coast from Pepito. But unfortunately, there was definitely some families affected by that typhoon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely part of living in this region of the world, the typhoons. You know, it's interesting. I was like, is a hurricane a typhoon, or is that like the same thing? And I looked it up. So hurricane is used like in the U.S. and around that part of the world. And the word typhoon, that terminology is used in Asia,
Right.
Southeast Asia. So I was like, funny how like different parts of the world refer to the same thing with different terms.
Yeah, it's wild. Pretty much like the same experience.
Yeah, typhoons, y'all are out in LA, Southern California. We deal with mini earthquakes all the time, but typhoons are really scary. I have nightmares from my typhoon back in Baguio, which is a mountain city in the Philippines. Like from 15 years ago, I'm still, I still have bad dreams about it.
Beautiful place.
All right, so what I mentioned earlier at the top of your intro, our mutual connection is Victor Martinez
Yes.
back in LA. And he's a very good friend of mine. He's been on the show several times. And I'm just curious, like, how did you meet Vic?
So I met Vic through a mutual friend of ours named Ange Floriendo.
Ange Floriendo. And over what activity did you all meet each other over? Because it was pretty epic.
Yeah, Ange hit me up to climb Mount Pulag with her
Okay.
as a friend, and to also help her shoot a little. I forget the term. A spec ad.
Spec commercial, yeah,
Yeah,
spec ad.
spec ad.
And Mount Pulag, can you let the listeners, everyone tuning in, like, what is the claim to fame of this mountain and where is it located in relation to Manila?
So Mount Pulag is north up near Kalinga area, the mountain region where they grow a lot of coffee and they have a lot of rice fields. And Mount Pulag is, I believe, the tallest mountain in the Philippines. If I'm not mistaken, there's another mountain in Cebu that's also very tall, but I do believe Mount Pulag is the tallest.
And tall meaning, do you know the stats of it? Like, what's the mileage of the hike and the elevation?
So the distance from the base camp to the summit varies depending on the trek, but roughly supposed to trek it for about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, depending on the trail. And I
That's
think it's
one
about
way?
12 to 14 kilometers
Okay.
one way.
Okay, so about 9.5 to 10 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm still trying to like translate everything in my mind with this. So not used to the kilometers out here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so that's so it's almost 10 miles, and then you said it takes around like 4 to 6 hours to complete, something like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Wow, that's very similar to our tallest mountain in LA County. It's called Mount Baldy.
Cool.
It's actually 10,064 feet,
Okay.
and the mileage is anywhere between like 8 to 11.
Well, Mount Pulag is just shy of that. Mount Pulag is 9,600 feet.
Yeah, that's. I remember seeing that content of you and Vic and the LA Trail Killers, because you all climbed the mountain, but you also did a trail run down. What was that experience like climbing Mount Pulag? Because I believe you started like mad early. Like, what time did you start?
So whenever you climb any one of the mountains in the Philippines, you have to get a guide because they want you to be safe and obviously to guide you through the trails.
Oh, that's mandatory.
Yeah, that's mandatory.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually not super sure about that, but because you have to go through a lot of the local government processes of signing up for the environmental fees and mountain passes, you have to get a guide.
There's
Also,
a lot of red tape. Yeah.
yeah, they also want to help. They help keep the mountain clean by making sure that the hikers and trailer runners don't litter, and make sure they pick up stuff on their way too. So yeah, we climbed it, and we started at around 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and the group and I actually climbed it early. Like we got there pretty fast. I think an hour and a half earlier than the normal time. So when we reached the summit, we had to wait for the sun to rise for a while.
What a interesting problem to have, because most people are just making it just in time,
Yeah.
but you all got there really early.
Really early, and being at 9,600 feet, it was cold. Being in the Philippines, a tropical island country, you're not really buying jackets and clothes for cold temperatures. So, man, when we got there an hour and a half early, I think the biggest struggle for us was just keeping warm, like huddling together, finding a bush that no one was already in, hiding from the wind because
Yeah.
we're at the peak. Yeah, so I think that was the hardest part.
Shit gets real when you gotta bond in the bush together to keep each other warm.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember seeing you showed me some of the photos from that trek. I was like, oh my God, you guys are really huddled like in all of the bushes surrounding the
Yeah,
summit.
we really were, man.
And so you waited an hour and it was freezing, and then you actually got to catch the sunrise finally.
Yeah,
How was that like?
the sunrise was great, man. The forecast the day before said it was supposed to rain, but it didn't rain. We had a little bit of a drizzle the night before, so there was a little bit of fog and cloud cover. But at the peak, there are supposed to be clouds there. We're supposed to have like an ocean or a sea of clouds.
And speaking of Sea of Clouds, isn't that what Mount Pulag is referred to as, like the Sea of Clouds mountain, something like that?
Yeah, it totally is. Like once you reach the peak, a few hundred meters just below the peak, you'll see a whole, like a sea of clouds.
Yeah, one of the, I promote this often on the podcast, one of the most magical, most majestic things you can see in nature is a sea of clouds. Being above it on a tall peak, like it really feels like you're in Mount Olympus and the god Zeus is going to pop out of nowhere. That's really special that you got to experience that with Vic and the fam. And I saw that the clouds were like not far away. You were like either in the sea of clouds or they were like just right next to you.
Because of the added fog and cloud cover, the clouds felt like we were in them.
Wow.
Yeah, and once the sun broke, we went down for that run back.
Yeah, so let's speak about that trail run down, because I saw you posted on your Instagram. It was a piece of content you made. I think it was a reel. You're like, trail running down Mount Pulag without any training.
Yeah.
So since you had no training, what was that trail run like down? Like, how did your body feel? Like, did you feel like it beat you up, or like, what was that like?
I'm pretty active in my normal life with the work that I do and my hobbies. So honestly, to tell you the truth, running down was so nice compared to climbing up. I loved it. I completely loved it. I fell in love with it. it's addicting.
What about trail running is addicting to you, or at least in that moment when you're flying down the mountain?
So when we ran down Mount Pulag, we did it at sunrise. A few minutes after sunrise, taking some photos with the crew, enjoying it. We ran down and we ran through the clouds.
Wow. Okay.
I was helping and shoot the video, so I did kind of like a follow cam for her, and I was following Anthony and Vic down the mountain and running through the fog and the clouds, and just taking in at any moment, any one of us could slip. You're hyper focused, and then just to the side of you is cliffside. Just to the right is another cliff, and we're weaving through the grass. We're running over rocks. Man, it's such an adrenaline rush. I can't even imagine to tell another person, like, if you want something exciting to do, you need to downhill run a mountain.
Yeah, trail running, a mountain, especially running downhill, it feels like you're in a movie scene. It's like when you see those commercials of like the ultra trail runners just running up the mountain, running down. That's literally what you're doing, and it's like such a striking activity to see out in the distance, and also just to do yourself, because you're like, wow, people do this for sport or do this as a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty trippy. Like, I also like to power hike up and trail run down, and that feeling of flying down a mountain, especially like you mentioned, like with sheer drop offs on a ridge, it really feels like you're living your best life, but with extra spiciness to it.
Totally.
How did the content come out from the spec commercial that you guys shot that day? Were you happy with it?
Ange did a beautiful job, man.
Okay.
She shot some really cool footage. You guys got to check it out. Also on my Instagram, check out my BTS.
What is your Instagram, by the way? Plug it for the people.
Hey, my Instagram is Simon, SIMON, G.OG. I almost forgot my own Instagram. Damn.
It's okay. We're going to include it in the episode notes and also in all the social media and the marketing assets. So you'll follow this guy. You'll want to. So I did a hike in Cebu City about a week ago, and it was Mount Babag. I think it's the highest point in Cebu City. And I love my solo adventures, my solo trekking, always challenging myself. And I noticed when I was doing my research through the different travel and outdoor blogs that they refer to the trailhead as the jump off or the jump off point. And that really caught my attention because I was like, oh, is this like, where did this phrase come from? Like, I just thought it was super dope. I was like, I think I want to adopt it, like, in my event descriptions or emails that go out to the attendees. Is that the same here in Manila, or is that a Cebu thing? Like, are you familiar with that phrase?
I've heard of the jump off, but I don't know where it started and where it came from. I'm not really sure about that one, but maybe they can help us out.
Yeah, if you're tuning in and you're a local, I know Simon's friends are going to be tuning in and his colleagues, but let us know if it's a Cebu thing or if it's also used all over the Philippines or Southeast Asia.
What is a jump off? Where did it come from?
What is the origin story? What's the history, y'all? Yeah, I just wanted to ask that because definitely stood out to me when I was doing my logistics and research on the hike. Which, by the way, you should do that if you want like a good base camp training with you want a leg buster of a hike and a little mini Sufferfest. Doesn't take all day, but you want to grind out your legs.
Cebu.
Yeah, Mount Babag, y'all, the Mount Mighty Babag. So, we spoke about some of the outdoor activities that you like doing. You do free diving. I know you mentioned scuba diving. You trail run, you hike, you explore. But I also want to know, like, what are some of the other favorite outdoor recreational activities? And also, after you get into that, top places to explore in the Philippines.
Damn, I never really get tired of telling anybody this. This is one of my favorite hobbies amongst all the hobbies that I have, and it's dirt biking.
Dirt biking?
Yeah. I love climbing the mountains by foot, but man, sometimes on the trail when you're hiking, you'll hear two-stroke engines just ripping. And then, out of your own curiosity, you're going to be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And the dirt bike scene here in the Philippines is something else, especially when rainy season comes out. It does not stop people from riding.
Really?
Yeah, it just makes it harder. And I guess, some people are a little unbalanced.
Hey, nothing stops the Philippine people. Typhoons, muddy tracks.
Yeah, and dirt biking, man, I've seen kids from like 13 to 55, maybe probably even 60, still hill climbing, still doing hard enduro. Like, we have motocross here in the Philippines, but hard enduro is definitely up there with one of the activities you need to try. We have ATVing, and we have all those other, four-wheeled and two-wheeled sports, but dirt
Hard
biking.
enduro. What's hard enduro?
Hard enduro is basically, going through hike paths and riding from point A to point B, riding the trail basically, like a hiking trail on a dirt bike.
That's really rad you do that activity. So when you do the dirt biking, are you also going off ramps? Are you doing some tricks? Or are you just riding the trail?
I'm riding the trail, like the motocross with the tricks and the ramps. We have that here in the Philippines, really close here in Manila, actually.
Really?
Just in Tanay,
Okay.
past Antipolo. They have motocross trails, and I believe every weekend they have some races. But personally, I'm more all about hard enduro because a lot of the hard enduro here have destinations like waterfalls, little lagoons that you can go to. Some of them have, just like little noodle houses, like panciterias on the side of the trail. It's like one of the go-to spots to go to, and then you go hard enduro. You're hungry, you come back, and you go right back to that noodle house. Yeah, so I think hard enduro is like one of the kind of underdog of hobbies in the Philippines that people don't really get to know about.
Forget trail running and hiking on just freaking dirt bike the damn mountain. I'm not surprised that's an underground like community, underground sport here. Like I do remember going through the provinces in Cebu, and I remember seeing a dirt field, and there was a bunch of like ramps and a whole like there must have been hundreds of people like gathered together with their dirt bikes.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Yeah, that's rad. Is there any other outdoor recreational activities you also want to highlight too? Because, just getting to know you more, you're into a lot of things, brother.
And there's so many things to do. How can we not be so into, like, I can't even get started, bro. There's so many things to do. There's so many things to do out here.
Were you into like a lot of this stuff? So like, I guess I want to bring it back a little bit. So you're from New Jersey, the East Coast originally.
Yes, I am from New Jersey.
But you've been here for 10 years now, so you're a local. Like, were you doing a lot of these outdoor activities? Were you already into nature and the outdoors back in the East Coast?
So where I'm from in New Jersey is Jersey City. Shout out JC. It's a inner city town. Like we have universities there, so you have to kind of get out of Jersey City to go do anything really. But fortunately enough, I had the opportunities to go hiking, snowboarding, skiing, and go to the beach in the Jersey Shore. But moving to the Philippines, really opened up my eyes to a bunch of different like hobbies and sports. As much as I hiked in New Jersey, when I came out to the Philippines, my eyes were open to surfing, kite surfing. There's scuba diving, free diving. We have so many things that are really close to the city that I feel like a lot of the Filipinos don't even know of.
And what brought you to the Philippines in the first place? Was it a career thing, a personal thing? Like, what was it?
So I moved out to the Philippines because after I graduated college, I have a theater degree. After I did theater,
okay.
I came over to the Philippines and I was like, doing some soap operas, doing some acting.
Soap operas? Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I grew up watching those, with the family. What is that like being in like a soap opera? Is it as dramatic as it looks?
It's super dramatic, man. It's like a telenovela. As you've seen on TV back at home. It's kind of just like a telenovela, but in Tagalog, in Filipino.
Oh man, I feel like I could go down the rabbit hole with everything you've done with your acting and the telenovelas and different projects. Thank you for sharing that. But to bring it back to the outdoor side of you, something that I took great notice of was you have a dedicated Instagram account to climbing.
Oh yeah, man, I love
So
climbing.
climbing is clearly a deep passion for you, and I think your climbing account is Simon Sens.
Simon Sens.
And
Yes.
it's dedicated to all the different climbs that you do, not just in the Philippines, but looks like just everywhere, right? So I wanted to ask you in regards to your climbing passion, like how did you get into that? And would love to know one of your most memorable sens, which is a term for a successful climb,
Yes.
right?
I got into climbing in college, being outdoorsy and want to be outdoors all the time, going hiking. I just saw like climbing as the next thing after hiking,
Natural
climbing-
progression, yeah.
Natural progression of hiking is to go climbing. Shout out NJ Rock Gym. This is the first rock climbing gym I ever went to. After I went there, I just
One thing after the
cascaded.
other.
I just kept on climbing. It's been a while now since I started, and my most memorable send would probably be here in the Philippines. There's a great crag out south of Metro Manila in Atimonan, Quezon
Okay.
province, and there's a wonderful lady who takes care of this side of the mountain, Tita Gina. Thank you so much for clearing the path all the time when we go out. And she's the caretaker of the mountain, and she clears a lot of the the jungle paths to get to the rock face.
I love that title, Caretaker of the Mountain.
Yeah, man.
That's rad.
And there's this route there called Buffalo Soldier, and we sent like I think it was my project all day into the nighttime, and we climbed it during the nighttime. So that's probably my most memorable climb ever. You know, climbing this route called Buffalo Soldier at nighttime, having all my friends there with me. We all had our headlamps. You know, people were drinking, but they were watching, not climbing.
I don't know, there's some crazy people out there that probably do both.
Yeah, and climbing at night is just a whole different experience. You know, like having people's headlamps on you. It's like you have spotlights. You're climbing. You have your headlamp. It's really bright. It doesn't even feel like it's nighttime.
That was my next question, like climbing at night. You know, I've seen climbing at night in the headlamps in Yosemite National Park in California. You know, that famous wall, El Capitan, that Alex Honnold free soloed.
Yeah, man.
And just, I think it was like, we had a late dinner and it was like either midnight or 1 a.m. And I'm looking up and I'm like, what are all those lights on the wall? I'm like, oh my God, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Night climbing.
Such a cool experience.
And when you were night climbing, like, did you feel like at any point, like, this is too dangerous or feel like uneasy or a lot of anxiety? Like, how did you feel?
Because the route I was climbing was my project. I'd done it so many times. You know, I have memorized so many of the moves. It really didn't feel much different at night other than it wasn't hot. You know, there's no sun beating on you.
Scary
It's nighttime. And it really feels like more of a, it really feels like more of a sport with the lights.
With climbing, you know, there's a lot of different kinds of climbing.
Yeah.
What would you say your favorite types are at this very moment?
I'd have to say lead climbing. Lead climbing is definitely one of my, it's up there. I like all of the climbing, to be honest. You know, I try not to differentiate too much between them, but definitely doing lead, you know, placing your own safety, like all that safety is in your own hands. I think it's
Very empowering.
It's very empowering, yeah, and it just kind of leaves you speechless, like shuts you up. You're just there, just you're climbing, and having such a long route to climb, it really feels like you're doing something.
So when you lead climb, typically how many people are you leading?
When you lead climb, there's two people involved.
Okay.
So the person who will place all the draws, all the quick draws, and the belayer.
Okay, yeah, the person at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Making sure, like, what is that term called in the climbing world? Whipping? Whippets?
Whipping? Oh,
It's like when
whipping.
you fall and then you whip into the mountain or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. So sometimes when you climb and you might forget to clip in, or the next clip is a little bit too far, so the distance of the rope from your safety clip is quite far, and you'll whip if you don't make the move or if you want to just jump off.
Yeah, I've seen, you know, I love about the climbing community, there's so much intricate vocabulary. And I find that very fascinating. Like, I definitely want to get more into the climbing world. You know, I definitely have some cool indoor gyms near me that I've frequented a few times. But yeah, the vocabulary, the different kind of climbing, like the community is just massive in Los Angeles. I'm sure it's huge in Manila.
Oh, it's
right?
growing, bro.
Yeah.
Like, when I wasn't here when it started, obviously, but from when I started climbing in the Philippines, from that point on to this day, it's grown a lot. New gyms have been popping up left and right. I believe there's a new gym opening up in Pampanga. One
Okay.
just recently opened up in Iloilo. There's one in Cebu. There's so many. There's so many.
What's the gym that you train at typically?
So the gym that I most frequently visit is Climb Central Manila, and that's in Mandaluyong.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing more about your climbing passion and that journey. So, you know, we're on the opposite side of the world, for myself at least. And what I wanted to ask you is, what about the Philippine trails, mountains, and natural landscapes just really stand out to you or surprise you?
As far as hiking and the trails go, it's a jungle, you know? It's not something I was used to being in, I forget, deciduous forest? Is that what that's called?
Deciduous?
Is that was, I'm ready to like...
I don't even
wrong-
remember what the word deciduous means.
wrong term, I don't know, but just being like in a pine forest, you know, like more of a American East Coast kind of
Yeah,
hiking.
cedar groves, pine trees.
Right,
yeah.
right. Then coming to a jungle where it's humid, the growth on the trail is so overgrown, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Going back to like Tita Gina, thank you again. She really has to clear the path every season, because after rainy season, summer season comes and the plants just shoot like
You go wild.
they go wild, man. So I think the growth of plants. Just the vegetation is something that stands out to me. Like, look at all these plants. All these plants you can see on the trail, you know. And back home in America, people pay hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
for these types of plants. And for us in the Philippines, it's just there. You're not even allowed to take the plants home. It's illegal. Yeah. And I think also the snacks on trail, like
The snacks on
the
trail?
free snacks on trail. I'm sure that a lot of the fruits are claimed on the mountain, but I mean, no one's gonna miss a banana or a coconut or two, you know.
Sure.
And I think that's what stood out to me a lot. Also, is that you're walking on trail and your guide will be like, "Hey, do you want a banana or some coconuts or some rambutan?" And he'll just walk into the jungle, and 2 minutes later he'll come back with like a plastic bag full of fruit, and he's like, "This wasn't even a quarter of what was on that tree."
Yeah, the foraging culture is just next level in the Philippines. Going back to Tita Gina, this woman that's the caretaker of the mountain, I imagine she's probably using a machete to clear out.
her and
the
her
trail.
husband, they go out to, we'll call, you know, shoot a text message and say, "Hey, Tita Gina, we'll be there next week. How was the mountain?" You know, because usually you want to ask if it's been raining, because then the mountain will be wet. You'll kind of want it to be dry. So she'll inform us if it's been dry, and we'll tell her ahead of time so she can really clear. Legit, like, she'll, man, and you can tell that it's been chopped, because like
For sure.
climbing up the mountains, like, you can smell it's fresh. Like maybe the day before we got there. And she also cooked all of our meals.
Wow. What
Yes.
kind of meals is she cooking for you guys on trail?
Man, she makes some hearty meals, like some local, like tinola, adobo.
Nice, yeah.
One of my favorite things that she makes is this thing called pepino salad. It's cucumber salad with vinegar, peppers, a little bit of sugar and salt. And
Of course, vinegar.
Yeah.
Woo! The
So good.
vinegar. Shout outs Tita Gina. Tita
Yo,
Gina, right?
Tita Gina, I love you.
You're a legend, and I haven't even met you.
Yeah.
And just speaking to this more, like, how does it just differ from the rest of the world in terms of, like, is there any unique natural wonders that, you know, visitors or people should know about? Because I know there's places such as, like, I think it's the rice terraces. What
the
is that
Banawe-
area?
Man, up north in Banawe.
Okay, the Banawe rice terraces, correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I think it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
that's correct. I do remember that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went up there with an uncle of mine because he went to visit Wang Ud, one of the oldest tattoo artists in the world.
And you're the person that convinced Victor Martinez to get a tattoo from her.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, he was already in the area, and I was like, "You cannot go back to Manila because you need to go to this to this old lady and get a tattoo."
Yeah. Do you actually, are you able to show it, or is
Yeah, I
it?
actually do. I actually can. She the three dots right there, and that like represents her and her two granddaughters that still do the tattooing.
That's the coolest thing, man, because I remember when Victor got the tattoo, the 3-dot tattoo from her, one of my hiking crewmates sent me a video that showed Vic getting the tattoo from Apu Wong. And he's like, look at Vic. He's more Filipino than all of us combined.
Hey, she is a piece of history, dude. I believe, definitely.
And that's really rad. So where she resides is in around the Banawe?
Banawe, yes.
Banawe rice terraces. And I actually researched, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but so these rice terraces, y'all, is like, it's ancient. It goes as far back as a lot of the Egyptian pyramids. And when I found that out, that was just like, such like a mind fuck.
Yeah, I didn't
You
know
know
that.
what I mean?
That's crazy.
And yeah, the rice terraces is such a unique, you know, cultural treasure of the Philippines, I believe, right?
Yeah, it is. I think it's on one of the bills.
There's another natural wonder. Is it? It's on one of the islands. Is it like it's an underground river? Do you know about that? Is it in Palawan or?
I think it's in Palawan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in Palawan where you have to kind of lay down in a canoe to get past this cave system into a lagoon.
That definitely sounds like Palawan.
Yeah,
probably.
I think it's like that.
Actually, you know what? Let's speak about Palawan because I saw you. I don't know how recent it was, but Palawan is a destination that I've been dreaming of going to. You know, I've been to places like Boracay, Pearl Farm in Davao, you know, Tagaytay, and some other areas. But, you know, Palawan and the different areas of Palawan have been at the #1 on a lot of travel blogs, like the past decade. Like, what was that experience like visiting Palawan? What did you do? What did you explore? And where exactly did you go within Palawan?
So fortunately enough, because of my job, I get flown out to shoot and capture a lot of these beautiful places. So I went to Coron and I went to El Nido in
Okay.
Palawan. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe in El Nido, they have these two lagoons, beautiful lagoons. And you have to take an hour boat ride to the lagoon, and you can ride a canoe to like this massive, like there's these two, it's big and small lagoon, and with like these massive lagoons surrounded by these beautiful, I'm not mistaken, granite. If they're not granite, I can't remember what kind of rock they are, but these cliffs, like Jurassic Park looking.
Looks like volcanic, like erupted, like
Yeah.
cliffs.
Yeah, yeah,
Something like
definitely.
that. And oh, that's so rad that you were out there because of the kind of work that you do. So there's the two lagoons, and then you said that's in El Nido?
Yeah, that's in El
And then
Nido.
what did you do in Coron? Or did you
Quran, they
already
had to
do-
have like beautiful, again, cliff sides, and they have beautiful beaches, like small beaches everywhere. And you know what? It's beautiful because like you go to one beach and there could be nobody on there. You could be the only people on that beach.
very remote, very isolated, uninhabited.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
secluded.
Sounds like a great place for y'all couples to go to.
Definitely. It
I'm
is
sure a lot of
honeymoon-
love is made.
honeymoon
on those beaches.
destination.
Yeah, I'll have to make it out there sometime, man. It's definitely a dream of mine to make it out to Palawan. Is there any other natural wonders also we should be aware of in the Philippines, whether it's the islands or any other landscapes or places besides the rice terraces and the beaches?
Man, I'd have to say Siargao.
Yes, I have heard that numerous times.
Siargao, La Union. There's also Balair. And then these are all surfing spots, man. Like La Union and Balair have the east and the west coast surf. And Siargao, I'm not really familiar. I'm not really sure about where that surf is, but really good surf there as well. And Siargao is just a beautiful place. Beautiful, beautiful people, amazing food. It's definitely a destination to be going to.
Yeah, here's the hot spot right now.
Yeah.
It's the secret's out. Yeah, because one of my hiking crewmates, shout out to Justin Valles, Just Jet,
Hey,
he fell in love with Siargao so much. I think he went at the top of this year or end of last year, and he wanted to live there. He's like, I want a plot of land out here. He said, like, not only are the beaches like so secluded and pristine and beautiful, but he said like the culture there, even like the nightlife and the music and the DJs,
Man.
like the scene out there is popping. He said.
it is. It's great. I think it's one of the best spots out right now. But I mean,
And-
that's just one of the many, man. Like all over the Philippines, it's crazy.
Yeah, because with the Philippines, how many islands are there in this archipelago?
7,000 plus, I'm sure.
You hear that? There's a lot to explore out here. Like, you think you visited something cool? Like there's a million places to go to.
Yeah.
Or 7,000 islands.
7,000, man. It's a
That's
lot of
wild.
it's a lot of islands.
So I know we've been talking about a lot of the outdoor stuff and your origin story with that and all the different activities. But I also want to spotlight again that you are an actor and a director,
Yes.
which is really awesome that you're the on-camera talent, but then you also have the skill set to direct and shoot and have that creative direction. In terms of you directing and shooting different projects, what are some of your favorite projects that you like to shoot? Any specialty that you have?
My favorite forte to shoot is outdoors and tracking. So like I like to do a lot of adventure shooting, whether it's scuba diving and shooting scuba diving or being in the mountains and tracking vehicles or people running or any outdoors type of shooting is really what I look forward to shooting. One of my most memorable shoots was me as a talent, and it was for San Miguel Light. the
San
beer.
Miguel, like the local beer, y'all.
Yeah, San Miguel Light, and they had me cliff diving. So it was definitely one of my most memorable.
I want your life, brother. Yeah, for everyone not familiar, San Miguel is like the equivalent of like what Bud Light
Bud Light, yeah,
in
San
the
Miguel Light
U.S.
beer,
or
definitely.
Coors Light, one of those two iconic
Natty
brands.
Ice.
Oh God, Natty Ice! Don't remind me of that. It's just like water. That shit's terrible.
People love it. What can I say?
That's what we drank in college, I think, because
Yeah.
you couldn't afford like
get the
the
Natty.
more expensive stuff. That's so funny. Yeah, you're in a San Miguel Light commercial. What came first? Were you directing, or were you an actor on camera talent first?
So I was modeling and acting first.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just the past 3 years, I've been directing.
And besides the outdoor, it sounds like your specialty, like you said, is outdoor shoots, outdoor filming. Is there any other kind of projects that you're involved in besides in the outdoor space that you shoot?
Oh yeah, I do a lot of like commercial ads also indoors. We shoot in the studio a lot,
Okay.
for products like McDonald's, Royal, soda. a lot of different products.
Awesome. And then in terms of you being an on-camera talent and an actor, what kind of projects are you involved in with that? Any particular ones that you're like really proud of that you want to share? As an on-camera talent specifically?
Oh, as an
on-camera, yeah.
Definitely that San Miguel, because anytime I get to be outdoors and doing something I really love, like cliff diving, it's the most memorable thing for me.
Man, that's so rad. You do cliff diving. You do backflips and all that too off of it.
I would be lying if I said no. And honestly, to see the world inverted and then get to splash into a body of water that is just free, you know? I mean, like
Yeah.
getting to experience some adrenaline for free, I think is just the best thing ever on the earth.
Isn't it funny how the most fulfilling things are free?
Yeah, that's true. Never thought about that.
Yeah, nature gives a lot, you know. So we talked about so many topics, man. Like, really excited for the community to tune in, and also all your friends, your colleagues. Is there? We're gonna conclude this really soon. So, but before we do that, I wanted to ask you: do you have any last thoughts you want to share with like your friends and family that might be tuning into this episode on the Just Trek podcast?
Friends, fam, I just want to tell y'all to go outside and just trek, right? What's up?
Hey, baby, let's go.
But definitely get outside. I think it's great for your mental health. You need to see some green. Definitely. Just come out and get some love, you know?
Yeah, connect with this guy if you come out here too and you listen to the show. One thing, I love that you brought up the mental health aspect. One common theme I get from a lot of the guests that interview is that nature is healing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And it's it's that free nature therapy, and it helps you build up that self-love, humbles you, grounds you. There's really nothing like it. So I'm glad that you brought it up in terms of it's the positive correlation with the mental health. The longer you're outside, there are a lot of scientific studies that say it improves mental health, stability, reduces anxiety and depression. There's just so many benefits.
Yeah, man. Step out the club, y'all. Get on the mountain.
Yeah, you need balance in your life. You know, I love my music, catching the homies DJ, but you need balance in your life. You know, get on out there. Don't be afraid. Get out your comfort zone.
You can party on the mountain. What's up?
Yeah, that's what we do. Okay, one last question, the most important question. Is it more fun in the Philippines?
Yo, again, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. It is definitely more fun in the Philippines.
And what about being in the Philippines is more fun, would you say?
Just the freedom, the hospitality from the people. Like you see so many different levels of people, and seeing those levels of people, you see everyone smiling all the time. You know what I mean? I think in every case and in every instance, people are going through something crazy in their life. But out here in the Philippines, it just really seems like everyone wants you to have a good time.
I truly believe that. I feel like the true treasure of the Philippines are its people.
That is true.
And you've been a local for 10 years. How special is that?
I can't say that I could love it any more than I'm loving it right now.
It's amazing, man. Well, check it out, Simon. We're at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for taking the time and also lending us your space, Bad Eye Deli, to record in this beautiful corner of it with all these beautiful native Philippine plants. And thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, make sure to find him on Instagram. What was the account again?
SimonG.OG. I got it this time. I didn't mess it up.
And is there any other links or anything else you want to promote to the people for them to follow you? I don't know if you have a YouTube channel or if they can check out maybe a portfolio of your work. Feel free to plug that if you got any of that.
Just check me out on Instagram. You can also check out the deli if ever you guys come to Makati, and the flower and coffee shop. The deli is called Bad Eye Deli, and the flower shop is called Saglit Flower Ranch Cafe.
All right, there you go, guys. Simon Guinto, Manila, Philippines. Justin Ramon, Just Trek Podcast. We out.